This is the Yocal Idaho Midweek Report, where we give you a quick overview of the news in Idaho for the last week. This week, we'll start off by reporting on some hot stories, such as Caldwell City Council's response to the parking meters in downtown. We talked about that recently on the Sunday show. And then pride flags being vandalized in Boise. Also, we'll be looking at some new restaurants coming to the Boise area, one with a little bit of an Italian touch, and then one that's a little bit more sweet. Then we'll also be looking at the Emmett Fire and all the other fires going on around the state with the heat we've had, plus so much more, so stick with us here. And starting off with our first story here as I tease, Caldwell revisits parking meter policy after community backlash. This comes by the Boise Dev by Aaron Banks Rusby. 2 weeks ago, we reported on the parking meters being installed in downtown Caldwell and the controversy surrounding them. Now, after just about a month of implementation, business owners and residents are voicing their struggles with the system at a recent city council meeting. Mayor Jerome Wagner has acknowledged these concerns, indicating that the city will consider making changes. Some of the issues that were raised included elderly customers struggling to use the meter, the lack of Spanish language options on the meter because there is a very large Hispanic population there in Caldwell, glare on the screens making it difficult to read, and then a complicated user interface with multiple screens, and just in general that people shouldn't have to pay for parking in downtown Caldwell because it isn't that big. Business owners have reported a decrease in sales and visitors, particularly during the day. In response, the city is considering several adjustments. The first is obviously adding Spanish language options to the meters, potentially reducing paid parking hours. Currently, they're Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., and then also trying to simplify the user interface. Mayor Wagner has committed to looking into these issues, particularly ensuring the Spanish language options are available. The city plans to gather more feedback from business owners and address their concerns as they try to find a middle ground between the city council and the people of Caldwell. And speaking of a middle ground that is a little bit hot at the moment, pride flags vandalized in Boise. This comes by several sources. Boise's north end has experienced repeated vandalism of the pride flags along the Harrison Boulevard, with the latest incident occurring on June 22nd. Approximately 15 to 20 flags were torn down, making it the third occurrence in June. The vandalism highlights the tension between Boise's efforts to promote pride and Idaho's more traditionally conservative culture. City officials, including Mayor Lauren McLean and Police Chief Ron Weingard, have condemned the acts, emphasizing Boise's commitment to being a inclusive community. However, the reoccurring nature of these incidents suggests a persistent divide within the city. The flags have been quickly repaired and the damaged flags replaced, and a fundraiser has been started to replace flags and offer a reward for any information leading to arrests. While Boise authorities strive to present the city as a progressive one, these incidents serve as a reminder of the challenges faced when progressive values intersect with more traditional conservative ideologies that are in Idaho's culture. And speaking of something ingrained in Idaho's culture and something that we love to complain about, traffic and construction. This next story, Boise City Council backs 3-lane design for State Street renovation. This comes by the Boise Dev by Margaret Carmel. As many people in Boise are aware of, a major redesign is in the works for the 6 blocks of State Street in downtown Boise between 8th and 14th Street. City of Boise is advocating for a narrow roadway to improve the safety and urban development. The preferred concept, supported by Mayor Lauren McLean and most of the city council, would reduce the streets from 4 lanes to 3, add wider sidewalks for pedestrians and cyclists, and include bus pullouts. This design aims to create more urban street, protecting pedestrians and maintaining traffic flow. While some council members pushed for the protected bike lanes, the chosen concept prioritizes bus pullouts to prevent traffic congestion because people get backed up there. The city council also emphasized the need for improved east to west bike connections on parallel streets such as Bannock and Franklin. The project, tentatively set for construction in 2026, is part of a larger effort to make the area more pedestrian and cyclist friendly, particularly with plans for a large-scale renovation of the downtown YMCA. However, concerns remain about the safety, cost, and potential pushback from the Idaho legislature regarding urban development initiatives. And speaking of construction, and a story that was pretty big a little while ago, Boise Airport hangar collapse, OSHA investigation concludes, demolition set. This comes by the Boise Dev by Dawn Day. 6 months after the tragic collapse of the hangar at the Boise airport that claimed 3 lives and injured 9 others, the site is set for demolition and eventually rebuilding. The Occupational and Safety Health Administration, or as we all love and know them as, OSHA, has concluded its on-site renovation, allowing for the removal of the wreckage to begin this week. Big D Builders, the general contractor, has developed plans and safety protocols for the structure's removal. The company expressed gratitude for the community support while mourning the loss of the 3 who died. Now, with that said, legal action may be pending, as the families of the 2 victims have filed a tort claim against the city of Boise. Meanwhile, plans are in place to rebuild the hangar using the existing building permit with modifications to the structural drawings. And for those that don't remember, the 39,000 square foot hangar was originally intended to replace an existing Jackson's Jet Center hangar, making way for the Boise's upcoming airport expansion projects. Which, if you've liked what you've heard thus far, or are just glad you're hearing about these things, please hit the like button on YouTube, Rumble, or Twitter. It helps us reach more folks who love Idaho just like you. And speaking of things related to development and construction, Ada County and Canyon County home prices level off. A market update. This comes by the Boise Dev by Don Day. The Treasure Valley housing market has entered a period of stability after years of rapid price increases, as we all very well know. In May of 2024, Ada County's median home price was $551,950, so almost about $600,000, while Canyon County stood at about $419,945. Both figures represent only a slight change from the previous year, indicating a more balanced market. This stability contrasts sharply with the violent market of recent years, particularly in 2021, when Ada County saw median home prices jump by over $40,000 in a single month. Current prices remain well below the record highs set in 2022. The market is showing signs of increased inventory and longer sell times. As of May, there was 2,694 houses available for sale in Ada and Canyon counties. As of May, there was 2,694 houses available for sale in Ada and Canyon counties, significantly more than the 1,931 listed a year ago. The average time to secure a buyer was 38 days in Ada County and 52 days in Canyon County. While the market is not yet considered healthy by real estate industry standards, the current 2.17 months supply of housing represents a significant improvement from the post-pandemic period when houses were selling in under 2 weeks. And speaking of something that is also sweet news, Lee's Candy returns to downtown Boise after decades away. This comes with a Boise Dev by Donde. Lee's Candies, a beloved Boise staple since 1947, is making a sweet return to downtown after decades away. The chocolate shop, which started on Jefferson Street before moving to the Boise Bench in 1972, plans to open a second location at 805 West Bannock Street in the former chocolate bar space. The current owners, Ken and Katie Fernandez, who purchased the business in 2022, saw an opportunity to expand into an area with high foot traffic. The new downtown store will offer all the items available at their existing Vista Village Shopping Center location, plus some new flavors. Katie Fernandez emphasized that all the chocolates and the handmade candies will still be produced in their Vista Village kitchen. The expansion allows Lee's Candies to reach more customers while maintaining their traditional production methods. The new downtown location is expected to open by mid-July or early August, bringing a piece of Boise's confectionery history back to its roots. Which, speaking of good things to eat, Rustica, Boise's newest Italian eatery with a European flair. This comes by the Boise Dev by Blake Pascal. Boise's culinary scene has a new addition with the opening of Rustica, an Italian restaurant with a Spanish and French influences. Located at 211 North 8th Street in Boise, Rustica is the fourth of the downtown restaurant ventures for owners Dan Watts and Samantha Foster. The restaurant's concept is inspired by the owner's travels through Europe, focused on simple, fresh dishes made with local ingredients. Rustica features house-made sheet pasta and sources other pastas from Ferranta Fresh Pasta at the Boise Farmers Market. Menu includes pizza, pasta, and panini, a folded-over sandwich, all prepared in a centerpiece pizza oven. Rustica's interior retains much of the Juniper's layout, with slight updates and the addition of the restaurant's logo featuring a rooster and a nod to the Cecchini region in Tuscany. The spacious venue seats about 120 20 inside and 40 on the patio. Open for dinner daily, Rustica also offers happy hour and late night menus, providing Boise residents with a new option for casual, delicious Italian-inspired cuisine. Transitioning a little bit from food and into politics here, Idaho Senator Tammy Nichols shares son's cancer diagnosis, asking for prayers. This comes by Tammy Nichols' Facebook page. That's where I found the resources on that. Idaho State Senator Tammy Nichols posted some difficult news on her Facebook this week. Her son Mason was recently diagnosed with all B-cell leukemia, a type of blood cancer. Senator Nichols posted on social media that Mason received the diagnosis on Friday the 21st and was quickly admitted to the hospital in Boise to begin chemotherapy treatment. Senator Nichols wrote that Manson's prognosis is very good, and he is doing well considered the circumstances. The family is facing a long road ahead, with treatment expected to last about 3 years. Senator Nichols expressed that the news came as a shock, especially given that Manson is described as their athletic kid, who is very fit. The family is requesting prayers, words of encouragement, and support from the community during the difficult time. I would all ask you if you could please keep Mason Nicholas and the entire Nicholas family in your prayers as they're going through this tough time. Which is the point of the program where I would ask you to share, but given the story that we just read, I would ask that you share that story so people can know and hopefully pray for them. Now, keeping with the political theme here, and better late than never, Dorothy Moon reelected as Idaho GOP chair in Coeur d'Alene. This comes by the Gem State Chronicle by Brian Allman. The Idaho Republican Convention in Coeur d'Alene saw a decisive victory for the conservative slate, with Dorothy Moon reelected as chairwoman. Moon defeated Mary Susan handily with 376 in her favor and 228 for her opponent, maintaining a similar margin and share of the votes as her previous election in Twin Falls 2 years ago. Despite the attempts by the old guard, or as some like to call them, the establishment, to regain control through personal attacks, op-eds, and lawsuits, the conservative candidates held strong across all positions. The new Idaho Republican Party officers include Mark Fuller as the first vice chair, Vic Purdy as the second vice chair, Steve Bender as the treasurer, Maria Nate as the secretary, Brian Smith as the national committee man, and Vic Keene as the national committee woman. The convention's results suggest that the conservative movement within Idaho's Republican Party is not a fleeting trend but a lasting shift. Senator Brian Lenny noted that these outcomes prove 2022 was not a fluke, indicating a continued push for change within the party. The convention also saw debates on the platform's amendments and resolutions, setting the stage for the future of the party's direction. And speaking of something that has been big in the news, and I know this isn't specifically about Idaho, but it's tied in here a little bit with our northern border. North border crisis, illegal crossing surged to record highs. This comes by the Bonners Ferries Herald by Bethany Blanke, or / the Center for Square contributing writer. While much attention has been focused on the southern border for obvious reasons, illegal crossings at the U.S.-Canada border are reaching unprecedented levels. In May of 2024, a record-breaking 18,644 individuals were apprehended illegally entering the U.S. at the northern border, the highest total for May in record history. The Swanton sector, which includes parts of Vermont, New York, and New Hampshire, have been particularly affected. In less than 9 months of the fiscal year of 2024, Border Patrol agents in this sector have apprehended over 10,000 individuals from 83 countries, surpassing the entire previous year's record. The northern border, spanning about 5,525 miles, lacks the extensive barriers and patrols of its southern border counterpart, presenting a unique challenge for Border Patrol people. Concerns are growing about the potential national security threats, with a high number of known or suspected terrorists being apprehended at the northern border compared to the southwest. As the situation intensifies, Border Patrol is actively recruiting and emphasizing the importance of community vigilance in their efforts to secure the northern border. Bringing it back to Idaho, but also being a little bit up north to a degree, Sun Valley Airport considers new private terminal. This comes by the Boise Dev by Dawn Day. The Friedman Memorial Airport Authority is considering a proposal for a new private terminal on the recently acquired farmland near Sun Valley. California-based Clay Lancey has been recommended to develop a 10-acre site for a second fixed-based operator, or FBO, which would offer services for private planes. While airport authorities claim the addition of a second FBO wouldn't increase air traffic and might even reduce the drop-and-go flights, some community members have experienced skepticism about these assertions. The new terminal, described as a jewel box with sustainable features, aims to blend with the surrounding nature. The project's approval could provide competition to the existing Atlantic Aviation FBO and potentially improve service for the high-profit events such as the annual Al & Co. convention. However, concerns about the increased air traffic and environmental impact remain. Sun Valley residents should be aware that the Airport Authority is accepting public comments on the proposal until July 2nd. The final decision on the contract will be put to a full board vote next month. And speaking of things over in eastern Idaho, new faith-based pregnancy center opens in Idaho Falls. This comes by the East Idaho News by Rhett Nelson. A new faith-based pregnancy center, Nest Pregnancy Care Center, has opened its doors in Idaho Falls, offering support and resources for women facing unplanned pregnancies. The pro-life nonprofit clinic affiliated with the CareNet provides free service funded entirely by private donations. Since its March opening, Nest has assisted clients by offering pregnancy tests, educational resources, and one-on-one counseling on pregnancy operations. While the clinic does not perform or refer to abortions, it provides medically accurate information about the procedure and offers post-abortion support programs. The center also offers adoption monitoring, parenting courses. Executive Director Janelle Faulkner emphasized the clinic's goal to educate people on both sides of the abortion issue in a judgment-free environment. Future plans include inquiring an ultrasound machine and offering free STD testing. The center operates Monday through Wednesday and continues to fundraise for its services. And speaking of things over in eastern Idaho, Mormon crickets invade eastern Idaho, a reoccurring pest. This comes by the East Idaho News by Nate Eaton. Eastern Idaho is once again facing an invasion of Mormon crickets, with Du Bois and Blackfoot and other areas experiencing a sudden surge of these grasshopper-like insects. The swarms, reminiscent of past infestations, are causing concerns among residents and farmers alike. These flightless insects, measuring up to about 2 inches in length, can travel long distances and pose a significant threat to crops, eating shrubs, grasses, fruit trees, and grains. The Idaho Department of Agriculture offers a cost share program to help farmers combat the crickets, providing chemicals for applications on crops. Bonnie Studard, a 93-year-old Clark County resident, recalls a similar invasion in 1940 that devastated hayfields. Today, local authorities are spraying to control the insect population, hoping to minimize crop damage and prevent future outbreaks. As the crickets swarm buildings, cars, and roads, residents are advised to take precautions, especially while driving, as the insects can create a slick condition on the highways there. Which, if you want to keep up to date on any of the stories we talked about, or you just love learning more about Idaho, make sure to subscribe and follow us so you don't miss any of our future content. And a story we've talked about before, but giving you a little bit of an update here: Teton Pass reconstruction, progress, and plans for reopening. This comes by the East Idaho News by David Pace. Following the massive landslide on the Teton Pass on June 8th, the Wyoming Department of Transportation, or WYDOT, and Evans Construction are making significant progress on reconnecting the Wyoming State Highway 22. Crews are working around the clock to build a safe, temporary detour around the slide area. Wyoming officials are confident that they can open a temporary 2-lane detour to the public within a few weeks, likely with a strict weight and width restrictions. The project is funded through the Federal Highway Administration's resources, made available by Governor Mark Gordon's emergency declaration. In addition to the main landslide site at milepost 12.8, crews are constructing a box culvert at milepost 15 to address a major mudslide that occurred on June 7th. While plans for a long-term reconstruction of the road are still in development, officials in Wyoming are conducting aerial surveys and geological drilling in preparation for them. Which, also staying over there on the more eastern part of the state, Idaho Falls Recreational Center reopens with new gym floor. This comes by the East Idaho News by staff. Idaho Falls Recreational Center reopened on Thursday, June 20th, following the reinstallation of a new gym floor. The Parks and Recreation Department invited the public to celebrate the renovation with a special event that started at about 1 p.m., featuring remarks from staff and recognition of sponsors and a shootout tournament open to attendees. The gym's renovation The gym's renovation, which began in March of 2024, involved leveling the concrete beneath the original floor and installing a special subfloor system before laying and painting the new floor. The project was made possible through the generous sponsorship from local businesses and individuals. Regular hours will resume on Friday, June 21st, with the center opening Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Saturday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The renovations enhance the facility's ability to serve the community year-round, providing a beautiful space for various activities and programs. And also something that's odd and weird, but welcome to Idaho having odd and weird stories. Stolen ambulance from Ontario found in Owyhee County. This comes by KTVB7 by staff. An ambulance stolen from the St. Alphonsus Medical Center in Ontario was recovered in Owyhee County after a brief search. The theft occurred on Monday, June 24th, around 12:30 p.m., when a crew from the Treasure Valley paramedics left the vehicle to pick up a patient from an emergency room. The Owyhee County Sheriff's Office located the ambulance approximately 3 hours later at the intersection of State Highway 78 and Mudflat Road. A suspect has been taken into custody in connection with the theft. Heather Land, the owner of the Treasure Valley paramedics, expressed relief that the ambulance was found quickly and appeared to be in good condition, though it had run out of gas, kind of expected there. The incident highlighted the vulnerability of emergency vehicles and the quick response of law enforcement in recovering stolen equipment, crucial for public safety. And speaking of things happening out in the sticks to a certain degree, Gem County fire contained after burning over 200 acres. This comes by the Idaho 6 News by Cooper McKinley. A significant vegetation fire north of Emmett in Gem County was successfully contained after burning over 200 acres. The blaze, which began on June 21st at 1:50 p.m., required multiple agencies' responses and took more than 4 hours to bring under control. The fire produced a large column of smoke visible as far away as Star, prompting a swift reaction from local and federal firefighter resources. The Bureau of Land Management assisted Gem County Fire, deploying 2 engines, a dozer, and a battalion chief to the scene. Firefighters employed various tactics to combat the flames, including digging fire lines to prevent further spreading. The coordinated effort between the local and federal agencies proved effective in containing the fire and preventing potential damage. And just speaking more broadly about Idaho fires, our next story here as well. Idaho fire season heats up, multiple incidences across the state. This comes by several sources, as you can get. As we all have felt with the heat, Idaho is experiencing an uptick in fires because of it as summer progresses, with incidents reported across the state. In Boise, firefighters battled a greenbelt fire early Saturday morning, while the Bureau of Land Management responded to a 423-acre fire near Oakley. Pocatello also saw 2 separate fires on Saturday, one at Gordon K Recycling and another in a residential attic. Fire experts warned that east central Idaho near Salmon and the southern part of Idaho's Panhandle are the most vulnerable to wildfire this summer due to low snowpack and dry conditions. The Idaho Department of Lands reports 50 fires so far this year. While this is lower than previous years, officials stress the unpredictability of the season. As the 4th of July approaches, cities like Pocatello are emphasizing firework restrictions to reduce fire risks. Residents are urged to remain vigilant and follow local guidelines for fire safety throughout the summer months as we go forward here. Which that brings us to the end here. Thank you for listening to the entire report. I sincerely hope you found it enjoyable and valuable. If you like the Midweek Report, please make sure to check out the Sunday show where John and I talk about the main stories going on in Idaho and dive a little bit deeper into them. Also, if we missed any important points or provided incorrect information, please feel free to reach out to us via email at lyimedia@protonmail.com or on Twitter by tweeting us at @local Idaho. With a small team we're not able to cover everything, but we do our best to cover the most interesting and important stories. Thank you for your continued support and assistance. That's all for now. I wish you a fantastic rest of your week. Godspeed.